I have read a lot of books in my life, a lot of books, and there are only a handful that have really stayed with me through the years. Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five, The Outsiders, um, Henry Nouwen's With Open Hands, um, and Robert Fulghum's book that's called From Beginning to End, The Rituals of Our Lives. I think that's the proper title. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen. And in that book, talking about rituals, Fulghum said this: "It's how we all make sense of our lives and give its events significance. Rituals help us celebrate the everyday, marking ordinary moments as meaningful." Now, we're coming into a time of the year when rituals of our lives are really, really highlighted. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, these kinds of things. Our families have particular rituals we've built up over the years. And, even if you're not religious, there's probably something about Christmas that you're celebrating, from the tree and the gifts and Santa Claus and whatever. But Fulghum writes in this book that it's really the ordinary things of our lives, the ordinary rituals of our lives, that give us the opportunity to really, I don't know if I'm saying this right or not, but to create something holy for ourselves. So in addition to looking at those big rituals, how the family gathers for Thanksgiving, or what your menu is, or going around the table telling everyone one thing you're thankful for, whether it's Christmas with our family ritual of, through the years, it's changed now, but through the years it was, we would open one present on Christmas Eve. We would go around, let everyone open one by one, and then on Christmas Day, it was a free-for-all for everyone to open presents. Or, New Year's, where you're going out to a party, or you're watching firecrackers, or you're eating, black beans and ham and mustard greens, or, whatever it is that you're doing. Those big rituals of our lives stand out. But there are other rituals that we have. Rituals like getting up in the morning, stumbling into the kitchen, turning the light on, and getting the coffee pot going. Maybe open the blinds. We do it exactly the same every single day. We have these little rituals as we're getting ready in the morning. We take a shower, we get out, we put on our deodorant, we brush our teeth, we shave sometimes. We brush our hair, we put on our makeup, all of this kind of thing. We do it pretty much the same way every single day. And it's those things really that Fulghum tries to highlight in his book. But I want to talk about 3 ways that rituals can bring meaning to ourselves. And I want to talk about it in terms of family, but I also want to give some opportunity to talk about ways that, if you're one of the people who go through the holidays alone without family, what is it that you can do as well? I think for me, it took me years to understand the importance of ritual in our lives. The religious experience that I grew up in was really, really down on rituals. It was all about let the spirit move, let things just sort of organically create themselves. And it wasn't until I was in the ministry to the military and working in Scotland and England that I became acquainted with an entirely different side of the church. The rituals of Catholicism, of Episcopalianism, of Methodism, the rituals that are done in every single service, and the deep meaning that they bring to the worship experience, not instead of this off-the-cuff worship, but in addition to really sort of made me start thinking about why we have rituals and what rituals do for us outside of the church experience. And that's what led me to Fulgham's book. So one of the things that I think that rituals do for us is that they can create this emotional calm and a sense of security in our lives. We bring calm and security in the rituals that our families have produced for Thanksgiving. Let's just use that since we're coming up on that very, very quickly. People come to the home. We will have most of my family here. I have one daughter and her husband that won't be able to make it this year, but I have two daughters and a son-in-law and 5 grandkids and my nephew and his new bride and me and Mom. And we will have pretty much the exact same menu we have every year. I'll be cooking a turkey. We'll have dressing. We'll have some gravy. We'll have macaroni and cheese. We'll have sweet potato casserole. We'll have mashed potatoes and gravy. We will have some grape jelly coated meatballs cooked in the crock pot. Dinner rolls with butter. I mean, all of this is almost exactly the same every year. And maybe what brings that about is the fact that we don't eat like that any other meal. Besides, don't let me forget the pecan pies. We don't eat like that except for maybe Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas Day. And so there is this idea that, these traditions in our families, how we put up the tree at Christmas and how we decorate it and, the lights that are on the outside of the house and all those kinds of things, even in the troubles of our lives, they can bring security to us. Just knowing that we're going to be walking into that all over again. In Fulgham's book, he reminds us that almost everything can become a ritual like this. How we peel potatoes, how we light the candles, how we put our coats away in the coat closet. If we look, if we take the time to really look, we will find out we are doing these things almost exactly the same way every single time. They have become ritualistic for us. And they can bring about, if we will notice them, they can bring about this sense of calm and peace and security. I think if you are experiencing holidays like this, where rituals are very high on our agenda, but you're experiencing them alone, you've maybe lost a spouse, or you live too far away from your kids, or you live overseas and you're thousands of miles away from family. Whatever the reason, you can consciously create your own ritual. You can create your own menu. You can create your own way of decorating. You can put these things in place that in this time, when everybody else is enjoying family and you are alone, you have this surrounding you've created that can bring you peace and security, calm and security. And I think we have to look at that closely and understand that it is a ritual that's working for us in our lives and not just blindly go through the days. Rituals also sort of, they build connection and a sense of belonging within the family unit specifically, or maybe a work unit, wherever community can be built. And they are less about these grand gestures of buying everybody a present or, everybody brings something to the potluck dinner. These kinds of things are great, but it's less about that. And it's more about the simple, everyday things that draw us together, that bind us together with this sense of family, with this sense of belonging. It's more about spending the time than it is doing the things. And this is, again, part of what Fulghum tries to express, is that our sense of belonging grows out of these everyday, mundane kinds of things that we do with and for one another along the way. But we're not paying attention. And we have to start paying attention to how those rituals have developed and what they are bringing to our lives so that we can truly understand them and enjoy them to their fullest. And again, if you are experiencing this particular holiday season alone, there are ways that you can create community for yourself during this time. You could be connected to a church family that's doing something for these holidays. Or you could find a community group, a volunteer group that you could become a part of to sort of build this sense of community. Even if you're an introvert like me, it may be a good idea to just sort of reach out to another area so that you have some way of connecting during these times. Because it can be the smallest type of actions. Just sharing a meal together. Just inviting somebody out to have a cup of coffee together during this time could be a huge community builder for you as someone who is living alone or experiencing the holidays alone. Maybe the ritual is you make a phone call to a particular person in your life during this time, and they can count on the fact that you're going to call them every single year. Because you just want to catch up for a little while. You just want to hear their voice. Maybe it's a FaceTime call and you just want to see their face for a little bit. But you reach out and connect and create this very small action that, again, brings a sense of calm and security because you've connected over this ritual. And I think one of the most important things that rituals do for us as families is that they transmit values from one generation to another. They craft our identity of who we are. The identity of who are the Childers. What is the Childers family all about? Can be seen in some small way, at least, through the rituals that we have crafted for these holiday times. And again, I think this is something that I've drawn from Fulghum's book, is that it is in the simplest things, from the way we set the table at Thanksgiving or Christmas, to the way we offer a thank you to those who have contributed to the food, to the way we have lit the candles to sit on the table while we eat. These very, very small things sort of contribute to this creation of values, the transmission of values. And for those of you who are experiencing these holidays alone, you might be able to just sort of craft your own traditions. So maybe it is that every year at Thanksgiving, you're volunteering at a local soup kitchen or a church venue that is offering free food to those who are struggling. Maybe it is you have a gratitude jar and you're writing down something, once a month, or maybe just every Thanksgiving, something you're thankful for, and putting it in the jar, and you don't touch it again for another year. But every year you do that one simple little thing that eventually passes down your values. Part of it is finding time and the means and the topics to create these videos, because I am creating in this a sense of community here on YouTube, and that is far more important to me than the number of views a video gets, or way more important than the money it brings in. It is the fact that we are connecting here and we are transmitting our values to one another and creating this identity of a family that gets together when these YouTube videos upload. So what I would encourage you to do as you are heading into Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year or whatever holidays there are in your part of the world as the year is drawing to a close, what I would encourage you to do is to take note, become aware. What rituals do you already have in place that you've never really acknowledged before? Because whether you spend your time gathering with friends or you spend your time gathering with family or you're spending your time alone, these rituals, if they are properly viewed and acknowledged and celebrated, these rituals can bring great meaning to your life throughout the entire year. And I would encourage you to become aware. What are those rituals? What are the everyday things? When Thanksgiving comes around or when Christmas comes around, and if you're with family or you're by yourself, whichever way you're celebrating, just take a moment to think, I did this last year. This is exactly what I did for the last 5 years. I did this particular thing. What does this mean to me? Why do I do this? What is it bringing to my life? Acknowledge it, point it out, and then celebrate it. So wherever you are in the world, whether you celebrate Thanksgiving or not, I know that's traditionally, a North American kind of thing. But if you're celebrating Christmas or New Year or whatever other religious or non-religious holidays you're celebrating during this time of the year, I wish you well. I wish you peace. And I wish you rituals in your life that bring meaning to you. Thank you for watching.